Hello Book Club, hosted by Heather Skinner. I am so excited for this bonus shout out to author Anne Perreault. She hosted a takeover event on our corresponding book club hosted by Heather Skinner Facebook group page last night, which was February 28th, 2022. It was so much fun, and I highly recommend checking out her posts that are still up on our page when you get a chance if you haven't already, and checking out her books. And the next author takeover in our group is scheduled to happen on March 10th, 2022, and will be hosted by author Ivan Scott. I hope to see you there to comment during the event, taking part in all of the fun, and entering into the exciting giveaway opportunity he'll be offering. Anne has allowed me to share her excerpt reading video with you here through our YouTube channel that she recorded live during her takeover event on our Facebook group page. Enjoy, and please remember to like and subscribe while you're here, and happy reading.
Good afternoon. Well, at least it is afternoon here in beautiful Vermont. Thank you for this opportunity, Heather, to take over the group. I love taking over people's groups. It's so much fun, and I don't make too much of a mess of things. I leave them as I found them before I came. So but it's thank you for also letting me do a live, which I love doing. I love to read. And I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to read to you from the gift today, because the blessing is kind of start off, and if I were to read it, it would be kind of a spoiler. So it's the gift, which is the first book in To Protect and Serve. The blessing is coming out March 11th, and it's on pre-order now. And so, yeah, I'm excited. Hi! I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to read. I do reading. We do a lot of live readings. They're fun to do, and I'm actually going to start in chapter 2. So what I usually do is, go ahead, pop a question, or, just make a comment, because, hi, Heather. I see that. Thank you for joining me. So just pop a question or a comment whenever you feel like it. I don't like sitting here by myself. That's the reason why I do lives. I enjoy hanging out with other people and getting to interact with them while I read. So yeah, I'm gonna read The Gift, which actually takes place in Boston, which I actually love Boston. It's so historical and really quaint, and I just enjoy it a lot. So it is the first in the To Protect and Serve series, and yes, there will be 3 when we're all said and done, unless something happens, and then but I have 3 planned, and that's it. And let's see, I'm going to start in chapter 2 because there's a reason for that. I never get to that chapter, and it is such a funny chapter for me, and I think for the readers as well. And it's not like I start in the middle of the book, so it's kind of an introduction of the main character, Shane. So, and it's a lot of fun. So, here we go. You ready? Oh, and if you have, your coffee, I love, this says Literary Rebel. Sorry, it's backward. But I love this mug. I drink out of it all the time. But I have to switch to water at this point, or else I will never sleep. Or I will drive my children and my husband crazy because I have all this caffeinated energy. They won't be happy. All right, here we go. I won that mug from one of my favorite authors, so yes, I am very excited to use it. Okay, here we go. Chapter 2. The noise from the bullpen was deafening. Oh, I'm sorry, before I go on, I tend to laugh at my own stuff, so please excuse me. I will try not to laugh. And if you hear like barking, it's because my daughter's dog is getting hungry, and she will tell us that it is almost dinner time for her. The noise from the bullpen was deafening, but not loud enough to drown out the one voice everyone dreaded to hear. And there it was, calling his name of all people. Donovan! How had Shane snagged the attention of the lieutenant? The cop at the desk next to him, a veteran of 15 years, gave him a look of pity as he went off to meet his doom. Shane gave him a nod as if reassuring he'd make it through this. He might as well get it over with. It wasn't every day that a beat cop was called in to see the lieutenant. Whatever happened next, Shane was proud of the job he had done to this point. Up to this point, he had served with distinction and had a good, solid arrest record. He was sure he wasn't about to receive a reprimand. As Shane entered the cramped space overflowing with reports, another man stood at attention, shorter than Shane by an inch. His hair was jet black. Dark brown eyes shone when they met his gaze unflinchingly. Okay, he had no idea what that was all about. Shane waited patiently. Donovan, meet Carpenter. Carpenter, hey! Hi, hi everyone. Hi, Crystal. Donovan, meet Carpenter. Meet Carpenter. He's your new rookie partner. The big man behind the desk roared. Should have roared, huh? Still standing at attention, Shane cocked his head. Sir, I wasn't aware that I had signed up to be a field training officer. I would rather not. Okay. He glanced at the pup next to him. No offense. The kid shook his head. None taken, sir. The notion of this guy calling him sir. You don't have a choice, Donovan. It's all set up. Go on, play nice. The older man sitting behind the desk, littered with stacks of paper, motioned toward the door. Dismissed, both of you, and go arrest someone. Might I suggest you hire an assistant to help you with your filing? We are going to come in one morning and find you've disappeared under all that paper. Think of your wife and your children, sir. A cheeky smirk spread across Shane's face. Really, Raven? A cheeky smile spread across Shane's face. The man had neither wife nor children. Out! He roared. A portion of his face, the portion of his face that was visibly turning. Out! He roared. The portion of his face was visibly turning ruddy. That was visible, turning ruddy. Oh my gosh, that was hard. What happened there? Shane snapped to attention and pivoted around to walk to the door. His rookie partner did the same, and for a moment they met in the doorway. Decisions. In the end, the rookie motioned for Shane to go first. After you, sir. This day was shaping up to be just fine and dandy. Shane walked past the noisy bullpen to the desk sergeant, a woman in her late 40s with a permanent scowl on her face. Shane knew she was all bark and no bite. You have a vehicle for us, Sarge? He drummed his fingers on the scratched top of the raised desk. Officer Donovan. Her brown eyes narrowed as if she had swallowed a particularly nasty sip of the coffee mug, always within within reach of her right hand. You darkening my desk? Get your grubby fingers off. Shane snapped them away as if they were on fire. Then he cleared his throat and pretended nothing had happened. Sorry. She continued to peruse her paperwork as if she hadn't heard him. Ma'am, a card, please. He wasn't a rookie anymore. He wasn't a rookie to be intimidated by her anymore. Although in the beginning she had gotten her pound of flesh from him, without looking up, she handed him a set of keys. Not a scratch, Donovan. Not a scratch, Donovan. Not a scratch. As if. Of course not, Sergeant Upton. He snatched up the keys and motioned for his partner to follow him to the carpool. Shane Donovan. He turned to the kid and held out his hand. The man-child shook it hard, nearly wrenching it out of his socket. Mason Carpenter, sir. It's an honor to be your rookie partner. You have a reputation at the academy. Shane couldn't even imagine what they were saying about him. Is that so? Hi, Diane. Is that so? He narrowed his eyes. They headed to the carpool area where their vehicle was parked. Good afternoon. Join us. We are in Boston. Yes, sir. Get in. First order of business. How good are you at following the orders? The best, sir. Carpenter got into the passenger side seat and attempted to buckle up. It was always a cumbersome procedure to work around the sidearm and the thick belt. As Shane slid behind the wheel of the Ford Crown Victoria, he did not buckle up, for a good reason. They needed the freedom to get in and out quickly without their gear getting hung up on the seatbelt. Once, as a rookie, his belt caught, and he failed to come to the aid of his field training officer during a routine stop that turned dangerous. As a result, the man had eaten a bullet, and it had ended his career as an officer. Look, Massachusetts doesn't require us to buckle when on duty, he said, as he carefully pulled into traffic toward their patrol area in the North End. But you do what you're comfortable with. So this kid was going to be his shadow for the next year or so. Shane had one other graduate of the academy follow him around for 3 months. The guy had been sharp and found himself recruited by the FBI shortly after Shane started his training period. Having someone stick to him would be an adjustment for Shane. He'd roll with the punches, but, sir, I have to ask you, why do you want to be a cop? And this was why Shane resented being saddled with a kid. I like to chase the bad guys and shoot guns, he said, tongues pushed in his cheek. His rookie's brown eyes widened, making him look no older than a high school graduate. Had Shane been this wide-eyed and green behind the ears? Really? Kid, we're Boston finest. Of course not. Why did you want to join the oldest police force in the country? I was born to do this. That came out with such vehemence. Your father's a cop? His rookie partner shook his head. Nah, my parents own a mom-and-pop store in North Boston. I've always wanted to be a cop. Shane settled deeper into his seat. Family. You've been doing this for a while? More questions. I guess, if you consider 5 years for a while. I went to the college way and then the academy. You like the job? I mean, you still walking the beat. Why aren't you a detective by now? The pay is better and the conditions are better. Whoops. Shane rubbed his hand over his jaw as he turned right onto Congress Street. They passed the famous Quincy Market, where crowds of tourists were sweating in the sweltering afternoon of another record-breaking heat wave. Look, kid, you and I are going to spend a lot of time together. But that doesn't mean we'll finish each other's sentences or hang out after shift and grab a cold one at our local dive. We keep this professional. After you're done here, hopefully, you go your way and I go mine. Rinse and repeat until I feel that you're ready to go off on your own. His partner glanced out the window. Understood, sir. Feeling a bit bad for being so gruff with a kid, he said, This job has its moments. Keep your head on a swivel, never let your guard down, and you'll live to fight another day. He approached a major intersection. It was time to get training. What was the intersection we were about to approach? The kid looked about, blinked, then, State Street, sir, he snapped to attention in his seat. It was an easy answer, but the guy said it without hesitation. Okay, you're going to call this in, Carpenter, and light him up. The car they were trailing had a broken tailpipe. Dispatch, we need a 1028 on a black 1995 Charger, Massachusetts license plate, Mike Oscar Edward 159. There was something more about this car that made Shane's senses ping. The rookie turned on the flashing lights, and the car in front of them rolled to the side after the next intersection. Dispatch, show us stopped at the corner of Lincoln Street and Beach Street. His new partner picked up quickly. Stay here. Shane loosened the strap securing his service weapon, a Glock 22, in his holster as he exited the vehicle cautiously yet confidently. Letting your guard down here was not an option, even in a neighborhood like this. He approached the car from the rear and tapped on the window. License and registration, please. He kept his voice calm, but adrenaline was pumping through him. Anything could happen in the next few minutes. Cigarette smoke billowed out of the car. The vibration from the music thrummed through him. And yes, he was now on full alert. What's the problem? A snarl erupted from inside. The man behind the wheel had a cigarette dangling in his mouth. He glared at Shane. Behind the mask of anger, Shane saw fear. People didn't like being pulled over, but there was so much more in this reaction. Turn down the music, sir. The passenger reached over and lowered the thrumming sound. Are you aware that your tail light is out, sir? Shane's jaw tightened. A snort sounded from the back seat. The three teenagers were leering at him. He counted 4 passengers and a driver, all smoking, all puffing blue smoke at him. In order not to gag on the stench, his breathing turned shallow. Nah, I didn't know. I'll get it fixed tonight. You gonna give me a ticket? A loud chorus of laughter followed the insolent question. Shane smiled a smile that never reached his eyes. License and registration, please. His voice was sharp, crisp, leaving no room for argument. The driver muttered something under his breath and reached over to fish out his paperwork. The guys in the back seat shifted uncomfortably. Though his eyes were focused on the front, Shane's peripheral vision alerted him to anything. Thank you, he said pleasantly. I'll run a routine check on these. Sit tight. He turned toward his patrol car, hoping his partner was in the process of running the plates. He slid into the driver's seat. What do we have here? Carpenter turned bright, excited eyes to him. This vehicle belongs to a Robert Turner who did a stint for disturbing the peace and assaulting a police officer. He seems to have cleared his act because he was released on good behavior. Robert Turner, huh? Shane flipped the license in between his fingers. It belonged to Robert Turner. He's been clean since he got out last year. Shane worked his jaw to loosen the tension he felt. We'll see. I got him for a minor traffic violation. He started to fill out the ticket when he heard the squealing of tires. Shane growled and jammed the patrol car into gear. You've got to be kidding me. He's risking more jail time for a traffic violation? He glanced at Carter. Call it in. This is Victor 42. We are in pursuit of a black Charger, license number Mike Oscar Edward 159. Shane squealed around the corner. It was rush hour and traffic was thickening. What happened next took only several seconds, but his trained mind took in every detail. The black Charger slammed headfirst into an SUV after running a red light. Metal crunched as the vehicles collided, glass shattered, exploding all over the street. More cars came to a screeching halt. Shane was out of the cruiser the second the vehicle came to a stop. Victor 42, we need an ambulance to my location, Shane shouted into his radio on his shoulder. We have a 1050 at the corner of Utica and Beach Street. He called in the accident while approaching the Charger, his weapons ready and trained. Carpenter, check the passengers in the other vehicle and render assistance, he shouted to his partner. Then to the passenger in the Charger. Show me your hands, he barked. Out. Okay. Yes. I am going to leave there because it is too long to another pause. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this reading, and if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask them. Oh, thank you. I love my characters. Let's see. Do I have any favorite character interaction that you have ever written? Yes. I think, well, it depends. I mean, there are some really funny, like the meet cute, they call it. I think my favorite, like, interaction was in Desire of the Heart and Whatever Tomorrow May Bring. And I love the interaction actually between Mason and Shane, they are not best friends, you know. So I love that interaction between them. They because it's so funny. It is it is quite just yeah, it's pretty funny. I love putting humor into my books because you know, I do write about some heavy stuff, so the humor is just a great way to take off the edge and just to keep it light, you know. But yeah, I just some, you know, really, I mean, let's see, another scene that I again, kind of a meet cute type thing, but it's in my Skating Chronicles in book 4. So yeah, that was pretty fun. Well, thank you for having me on live, and I will see you back in the group. And if you have any questions, put those questions into, you know, I have a question post, and you'll be entered for the giveaway. Mail order brides. I've read one mail order bride book, and I liked it. It's not my genre that I am drawn to. I like action, a lot of action in my books. Not that you can't have action in a mail order bride book. I think it's really cool concept, but I haven't really been moved to write about it or to write something in that genre, or subgenre, or whatever you might call it. But that's a great question. Thank you for asking. Okay, I'm gonna meet you back in the group unless there's another question. But yeah, do pop in those questions for the gift. I think I'm giving away the gift with a thing. Hi, Sherry. I hope I'm gonna leave because I need to go back and answer some of the posts. But please listen to enjoy the reading. And if you have any questions, pop in those questions anywhere. You know, I love answering questions. They're so much fun to do because I get to just share what I love to do with people. So, all right. See you in the group.